Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. Now you join me, yes, unfortunately back in New York, and I'm in the war room because, well, as you can probably see on my MacBook here, I've got a ton of editing to do, so I'm working from home. I shot about a terabyte of footage in Switzerland. A lot of it's going to be utterly useless, but yeah, it's a lot of work, so I'm getting started now. As you're watching this, hopefully, with any luck, if I manage to get this video finished in time, it is Seiko Saturday. I am wearing my darling little flighty, and I have missed it terribly. As you can see, my perception of Japanese watches has not changed at all. If anything, my appreciation for watches in general has only intensified, which is a good thing, because in the back of my mind, especially some of the higher end manufacturers, or I should say watch houses we visited, I was slightly concerned, oh my god, am I going to want to sell every single watch in my collection and just, a gyro tourbillon and never look back? Wow, I still wouldn't be able to afford one, but anyway, no, if anything, it's actually kind of validated and inspired and invigorated and motivated me even more. I am going to do a bit of a purge of my watch collection. I realized while in Switzerland, it's utterly ridiculous that I have so many watches. So I'm going to slim down, and yeah, I'm going to be ruthless. I do this about once or twice a year. If you want to see what's in my current collection, I'm using Snups. It's a really good app. I mentioned it before. A great social media platform. You can organize your collection. Actually, it's not just for watches. It's for collectors of all types. It's organized into shelves. So I have one shelf for vintage watches, one for divers, all the rest of it. There'll be a link in the description, so do check it out. It's free to join, and it's great because you can publicly share with other enthusiasts or collectors of all things what is in your current collection. Because I do get asked constantly what's in my collection. So guys, if you ever want to know, snup it. That doesn't even sound right. Check out Snups. Anyway, link down below. Excuse me. And I have got a bit of a sore throat and a bit of a cold lingering from Switzerland. Unfortunately, that country has so many different microclimates and change in altitude because of the mountains, constantly, driving from one factory to another. And also I was really pushing myself, 4 hours of sleep a night, and then getting up early, trying to get as much stuff done as possible for you guys. The good news is I've got enough footage to go until Christmas. But unfortunately, I have to edit. And yeah, you can probably hear the construction work in the background, so I apologize in advance. Yeah, good old New York. I don't know why I'm here. I need to go back to Switzerland. And that reminds me, a massive thank you to Sophie, to Joy, the whole team there, Revolution Watch. Who else? All the companies. I mean, such wonderful hosts. Un grande abbraccio a tutti. Grazie mille, it really was incredible. So let's discuss a little bit about my loves of Switzerland and then my regrets. First of all, what an amazing country. I mean, the landscape, the vistas, Lake Geneva, the history, the amalgamation of cultures with the French influence, with the German influence, and in certain parts Italian too. The food was incredible, and everywhere we went we saw Mont Blanc, like a kind of guiding star almost, telling us where we were. You could always get your orientation just by looking at the mountains. Phenomenal. I was mesmerized by the landscape. I hadn't been before, and I'm consider myself fairly well traveled, and I've been to pretty much all the neighboring countries, but never Switzerland. Well, I never had a legitimate excuse, but now, of course, I do. Come to think of it, we drove through France at one point to get to Geneva. We were in Italy to see some friends. Shout out to Francesco and his family there. You'll see Francesco. He's starting a YouTube channel. Amazing. A good friend of mine from way back. Stay tuned for Francesco. Absolute legend. Oh my God, the food. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change the subject because I'm absolutely starving. Secondly, I've got to say, when it comes to learning about the watches, there is no other better way than going and learning and experiencing it firsthand. Seeing all the different steps was utterly captivating. And I think I've got to say, I've probably learned more about watches and horology in 1 week than I do rabbiting on making videos in the last year. It has really opened my eyes. It hasn't dramatically changed my perception. I'm not going to suddenly sell everything and buy, you know, a Holy Trinity, or actually forget Holy Trinity. What we saw was way beyond that. It's made me appreciate everything from the entry level to the super duper high end, which is great, because I was a little bit concerned that perhaps, my God, is it going to turn me into a watch snob? That is always my biggest fear. But no, I never felt any kind of snobbery. Everybody was open and so accommodating. I never felt the need to hide my watch while I was handling a $500,000, you know, gyro tourbillon. You know, it made me appreciate what it means to be Swiss made. It's made me appreciate what in-house truly means, from the absolute raw materials. I mean, seeing blocks of steel and brass and precious metals to the final thing, all the different stages involved. I don't think you guys, a lot of you guys, really or can truly understand until you've seen it in person. And that is something, without a doubt, has been the biggest thing for me. And even ETA-based, you know, affordable watches, it's even made me appreciate them more. I think there's so much discussion and arguments in forums. It's, guys, just go and see how these things are made for yourself, and you will appreciate all levels so much more. Another thing I really loved about this trip in Switzerland was the openness of the people, especially behind the brands. And some of them had even watched the channel, which I was really surprised about, and you know, saying about watches I owned, and I was really quite taken aback, you know, that someone had actually bothered to watch because let's face it, watches are such a niche thing, especially my channel. It's minute in the whole YouTube cosmos, but it was really touching having moments like that. I think the big question is, has my Grail watch changed? Possibly. I think it has. I'm not going to give too much away because I still kind of need to sit down and take it all in. But there was one brand that really captured my heart, because I think it has an old world charm to it, but yet so modern. So my Grail watch, I think, has changed. I didn't buy a watch during the trip, but as soon as I got home, I ordered a watch because it was so specialized that I could only, I had to do it online, and it'll make sense. I'm waiting for it to arrive, and I will do the video about that fairly soon, because it's a brand actually I don't currently own, but it is a brand close to my heart, with a ton of heritage and in horological importance behind it. So I'm very excited about that. So yeah, so stay tuned. Let me move on to regrets. Any regrets I had about Switzerland, or anything that it made me feel I regretted about watches in general. Well, first of all, I do regret not bringing the right clothes. It's a bit of a difficult country to kind of understand how to dress, because 1 minute I'm freezing cold, the next minute I'm boiling hot. The sun is quite strong there. And then you have all these tiny little microclimates as you ascend and descend different valleys. We were driving everywhere. So if you do go to Switzerland, dress for all the seasons. So that is something I do regret. Not really anything watch related, but I should mention it, especially if you're considering going yourself. Also, secondly, I regret not going sooner. unfortunately I had health issues that stopped me from traveling, but it's so worth it. It's if you love watches, you gotta go, and I'm gonna be going to Switzerland a hell of a lot. So my biggest regret is that I didn't go sooner. It really is. My third regret is not paying attention to French or German, especially French, because my parents actually sent me to France as a teenager in a vain effort to make me learn the language. I didn't learn a word. All I spent my time doing was drinking all the great wine. So I did learn something, but not anything practical. And actually, I really need to brush up on my Italian. I haven't lived in Italy for a long time. As you guys know, Italian was my first language. I understand it absolutely perfectly, but my spoken Italian fa schifo. Veramente fa schifo. I was quite embarrassed. You know, when I was a kid, I used to go for 3 months every summer. 2-3 months, it was fluent again within the first month. It's just a thing of spending time with my family, and so I do regret not brushing up on any of the languages. So if you speak any of French, German, or Italian, you're gonna have a whale of a time. My last regret is, I think we were so much in a rush to film this, film that, and go from this factory to the next place. There wasn't enough time to soak in the culture. I'm seriously considering going back just with my wife, not visiting anything watch related, and visiting castles and doing the whole culture thing, because I do regret that. I can't wait to go back. It's going to be hopefully the first of many trips. I adore it. I'm very excited about the future. I'm very optimistic. I think I met so many great people there, and starting to build a bridge towards Switzerland, and Germany is definitely next. Also, Japan. Japan. At one point, I did seriously consider, I looked at my watch, well actually, I looked at my watches, and I thought, you know what, why don't I just sell everything and go on a tour of all these 3 countries? And then I thought, no, I'm going to regret selling my Navitime, I'm going to regret selling my GMT and my SKX and all the rest of them. So I think that the best way is just to carry on working, and hopefully one day the channel will get to a stage where I can even consider doing this full time. I have a lot of new goals now, so it's only driven me and inspired me more. Anyway guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Bit of a ramble, but yeah, stay tuned. I've got to get on with this. So I'll catch you next week. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, found it useful, and all the rest of it. Thank you very much for watching. Thoughts, comments, queries, opinions, all the rest of it down below. And as always guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, ciao.